Hi everyone, my name is Sujata, and today I am going to talk about glacier retreats and livelihood in Nepal as a part of my class called Water in the 21st Century. And I will look at these topics through the lenses of natural boundary, information provenance, and politics and risk distribution. So to give you a quick introduction, so this circled here in red is the Hindu Kush Himalayan range, which is also known as third pole of the world, and Nepal is right here, and Nepal hosts about 8 out of 14 peaks above 8,000 meters in height, including Mount Everest, and there are about 3,800 glaciers in the northern part of the country, ranging from east to west, and that reserves about 312 cubic kilometers of ice. These glaciers feed a network of river running throughout the country, which is a source of fresh water to about 30 million people. And the river originating from Nepal also feed the Ganga River, which is source of fresh water to about 400 million people in northern India and Bangladesh. However, the glaciers are in danger, and I want to play a short video message by UN Secretary General regarding this.
I am in Nepal to send a message to the world. The rooftops of the world are caving in. This tragedy is unfolding in two perilous chapters. Phase 1 is the story of melting glaciers and ice sheets. Record temperatures mean record glacier melt. Nepal has lost close to 1/3 of its ice in just over 30 years.
The video continues, but I will stop here. So now first I want to talk about the lens of natural boundary because it will help us understand the situation better. So due to a phenomenon known as elevation dependent warming, meaning higher elevation warming faster, Nepal's area that are higher than 2000 meters in height had about 2 times faster warming rate than the global average from 1975 to 2015. This resulted in 65% faster melting of glaciers in the last decade than the decade before, and reduced the area of glacier by 24% compared to 1977. The melting of glaciers resulted in increased number of glacial lakes. For example, if you can see in this graph, in 1977 there were about 350 glacial lakes in Nepal, which increased to about 1050 in 2017, almost 3 times. This increase in glacial lake increases the risk of glacial lake outburst flood, also known as GLOFs. And this study done in 2022 finds that Nepal has about six very high and 14 high glacial lake outburst flood risk areas. And the country has already been seeing this effect as globes now occur frequently. So what this looks on the ground is as follows. So this is a picture of a glove induced flood from Rosua from July 2025, and these destroyed people's lives and properties. This one is from Thame in 2024. This is from Milamji in 2021. This is from Upper Votekosi in 2016. And this one, as you can see here, destroyed the hydropower dam. This is from Kaski in 2012, and there are many more. So talking about different stakeholder, their roles, relative power, and risk distribution. At the very first, we have the high mountain communities, which is about 2 million people in Nepal. They bear the first-hand economic and non-economic risk, and they are oftentimes the first responders of the crisis. Risk is very high, including livelihood, cultural identity, and physical safety. Relative power is very low, both nationally and internationally, because oftentimes their voices are marginalized. Second stakeholder is the country of Nepal, which bears short and long-term economic and water security issues. Its role is also in implementation of adaptation projects and mediation between different local and international actors. Risk is very high, including economic stability, national security, and political stability. Relative power is high domestically but relatively low at international level because of its limited leverage in global climate negotiations. Next, we have neighboring countries like India and China, which, because of shared natural borders with Nepal, is a lot of times source and recipient of transboundary globs. For example, the one that happened in July of 2025 had a source in Tibet, China, and these countries also bear long-term water security risk. So their risk is high and they have high power because of their geopolitical and economic power. So next we have global north countries who are primary emitter of global greenhouse gas, which is in the first place driving this crisis. They are primary source of climate finance and technology and key decision makers in global climate policies. Their risk is very low, but obviously they have very high power because they control global finance, technology, and policy agendas. I will skip the rest for now. So, now talking about the lens of information provenance and politics, which is about where the information comes from, who creates it, and how it is used as a tool of power. Technologies such as satellite datasets from international agencies like NASA and ESA are used to study glacial changes, and the data are fed into complex mathematical and statistical model to predict hazards like GLOFs. And a major challenge is that a lot of time the data is limited and oftentimes contradictory. Nonetheless, the country uses the data available to voice in international platforms like the UNFCCC climate negotiations like COP, where the government of Nepal, along with other LDCs, have been leveraging for climate finance. And at national level, there are several NGOs and government-led events happening. For example, this event called Sagarmatha Sambad happened just few months ago. Sagarmatha is a Nepali name for Mount Everest, and delegates from different countries participated, including the Prime Minister of Nepal, as you can see here in the middle. And events like these inform national population about the crisis and attract international attention. Connecting these to Dr. Jackson's The Secret Lives of Glaciers, in all these numbers, we are missing a very important actor. Reducing glaciers to single story of melt overlooks different complex cultural and social lives and creates critical data gaps, which is what I will talk about next. So a lot of times the knowledge and first-hand observation of local people, like their observation of changes in ice or water or pastures, are oftentimes dismissed as anecdotes and are not given platform in official decision making. This can lead to critical gaps in data. Although large-scale economic loss like a damaged bridge or hydropower are tracked, granular socioeconomic metrics like measures of like how many families are forced to debt or who are displaced and how these impact men versus women are oftentimes left out. Another gap could be in monitoring of water quality caused by these melting and flood events when the focus is mostly on water quantity. And most importantly, there is no formal system for tracking non-economic losses like damage to cultural sites, ancestral connection with the land, and deep psychological stress caused by living in changing and threatening environment. So these all together could lead to ineffective and inequitable solutions. And oftentimes the adaptation projects are culturally inappropriate and strategies like displacement don't take into account people's ties to the land that they have been living for generations. So, potential interventions. First one is in data and narrative to challenge the single story of melt by creating narratives that integrate scientific data with complex human stories of a place. Participatory projects to integrate local knowledge with scientific monitoring. So next we have policy and governance. Since this is a global crisis, leveraging in international communities to limit the global greenhouse gas emission is very important. at regional level, transboundary data sharing agreements to manage shared risk from GLOFs help. And at national level, strengthening and localizing national adaptation policies is very important. In terms of technology and finance, meaningful community engagement in adaptation planning, like early warning systems and controlled drainage, is essential. And there is also a need for increased adaptation funding, because so far out of 1 billion required, the country is able to secure just 7 million for GLOF risk reduction only. So in conclusion, key takeaway is that glacier retreats create amplified hydrological extremes, but the risk and responsibilities are unevenly distributed. Progress is hampered by institutional gap and financial shortfalls. Integrating local knowledge with robust data and equitable governance is essential. Surprises and reflection during my journey of research are that critical data gaps in non-economic losses, so that local lived experience is systematically undervalued. And the immense funding gap highlights a disconnect between international advocacy versus actual support on ground. Lingering question. The first one is, what is the most effective way to ensure local populations' voice are heard in policy planning? Second is, how to ensure adaptation finance reaches the most vulnerable communities directly. And lastly, how can political barriers to transboundary data sharing be overcome to reduce regional security risk today and in future? That is all I have. Thank you so much for listening.